Bueno, tubeta na mbere kwatana na unikire mubango yaku kengo chokera na gatheti ya The Standard na gatheti ya Nation kadira gutaria makarika mwanya dene ya gatheti isho yele kabiri na gatheti ya Nation na kire gatheti ira redia Kenya barabara wati utaendi kurune ya Uganda abductions au Museveni caved in tukonkuluki ya mirongo idhatu ara Kenya bele Nicholas Oyo na Bob Jage bethire baki watu otae tariki Oktoba na kwithira baki ingilwa kuntu kumenyeka nthiguru na Uganda pressure nirethire kiuma kiri kuntu mwanya kiri United Nations thirikari ya Kenya na kinya family ya Antuba bakiuba kwenda na Bob bethira bakirekerwa Nende rais nthiguru ya Uganda Museveni narethire akiwa it is true naramenya Kenya ba ni barekiri mpene na kwithira ani eba weta yantu barabethira bakibangania maandamano na bwana bethira bakiwato na bikithira baikiro frinchine kenda kuritano adabu kidogo so untubone bwethirite bwikuchile maoni kuma kiri antubago dhetra Kyoto kuma kiri ya Kenya kuma kiri atongeria eti president uriyete miaka mingi utongeriene ya Museveni no ethire aitikiria antu bakethira bakiwatu otae bakethira bakithinwa no ntubo kwithira benda maoni ankulani na utongerie bwawe kana kwithira bakiwata mbaru uraba uchindana noe kiri githurano kia thiguru ya Uganda karatasi okaka mbere boost schools infrastructure and teachers now demand kulugi ya school cha primary agire 15 and teachers niba kwithira nendi bakiuria thirikari kutira niba waka irasi niba kwea na desk imbea nintubere ndibi kwendekana ndene ya maskuru kenda skuru chidra yita bobo ya bariti ya kiri kiomonakio NTETO ya Mombasa rabethera betrimana omwaka bakiwa muno kithomo ke CBE dikipatire kuthire kiwatiro thirikari kenda kithira gikinyanira karatasi ne katwile na tuthatu niro norwa Bob Jage na uyo barabara ethira bakirekeru nyuma yabo kwithira bakithinwa nthiguru ya Uganda bawati utae nonto abwa kwithira bakiwata mbaru Bobi Wine uraba uchinda na Museveni kiri kithurano kia nthiguru ya Uganda karatasi ne katuna ni ya Kenya barethirite baikwa ndene nthiguru ya Tanzania kiri thurano bire biretite na mbere Kenya babo bele bareki nchera ya Oyster Bay Police Station NTETO ya Dar es Salaam baruwa bo barare antu kiri antu batrare na maandamano antu batrare na thina nwereko indi pedra bakiwatu na wikondene bakirikana nibo bara sponsor maandamano nthiguru ya Tanzania former president wa Botswana Ian kama Sunday nethirite akiwa kithurano kia nthiguru ya Tanzania kithurano kitiretire boboya na kumeneria bonene ura kithurano kikethire kiitithwa na mbere na Suluhu aitangazo mshindi wa kithurano kiu akiwa kithurano kia umana weru na utongeria bwa Suluhu ni utongere nende bwa wikirwa biori bingi muno nontu ashindani bawe batire rokanya kakwithira baicindana nawe kiri kithurano kiu kira kulukire mweri muthiru tariki 29 karatasi ne gatandatu ngutariria rimu ba and teachers ba primary bakwenda skuru chithira ikibwithirwa miako emea ntubravyo ndibi kwithira bikiendekana karatasi ne gatuna na school fees plan to lock out the poor the senior schools implementation guidelines that were released last week have reignited debates on whether boarding and education in Kenya is gradually slipping out of reach for poor families, while the Ministry of Education says that no school fees has been increased. The cost of keeping a child in a boarding school continues to rise, turning what was once a symbol of opportunity and academic excellence into a privilege for a few. Under the new guidelines, the ministry capped fees for the categories of boarding schools at 53,554 as per Gazette Notice number 1555 of March 10, 2025. Currently, this is only applicable to national schools, as extra county and boarding schools charge 40 per year. Now, nyuma ya thirikari ukulukira ministry ya kithomo kwithira ikiwa beds cia boarding schools cionthe across the country ikethira ire ngiri 53,554 na ndi baingi ba aciari ni bakuona ya githomo ki kiatirwo antu borake bauciumba nonto beche hii ciikiro cionthe cia nene ikwenda kuonania kureana batikaro kinya school cia boarding nonto bwa wikwa kana nonto bo standardization ya mbeca iri batire wita kiri maskuru mwanya nonto kurauka bere kurare kithi school cia county, extra county, nationals kugetha kwina variance ya mbeca lakini mwaka thai kuringana na Gazette Notice ya thirikari ni ati kithomo kinende kikethira kikirichwa mbeca cia nene across the country. No tax incentives without public benefits. Farms taunt. Members of parliament have told the private sector that the House will not extend tax incentives to them if they fail to provide evidence-backed data on how it will benefit ordinary Kenyans and translate into tangible economic growth. Speaking during this year's 8th Speakers Roundtable meeting, a flagship platform that brings together the legislature and the private sector to forge consensus on how to make Kenyans the best place to invest, train and prosper, the lawmakers said going forward, they will no longer extend tax breaks, including tax amnesty without added data. So, kiri sector tia antu kiumbe bunge nende ne kwithira ikiariria mantu igi kwithira batithira bakirita data ekona niura bautumira mbeta tio na woti brabu kuitwa kiri ukiria Kenya na antu maybe baraba kurita ngwe then utebio bakithira either bakiwivra kana kubangirwa ni thirikari no mwanka bethira bakiona ni ataba ukuria economy ya Kenya moving forward nonto barua bainge private sector zitethirite cietetheria kiri ukura kwa uchumi bwa Kenya na kinya kiri mantu igie kwaidithia woti barabo kuriwa thigurune ya Kenya. Kiri katuni antuko gatheti ya Nation ni voter registration nethire kiambiria lakini mwanka thai Kenya ni barete wito ciandikithia ringi kura biba wita kiribio ni michemanio ire kubuithwa ni ya siasa irio ya empowerment. So Kenya mbiche mwere yao mwandikithia wa kura ati muntu kinyomo akwandikithia kiri ringi bo kura na Kenya sendinge na bo ibo matukite kiri michemanio ya empowerment ide witithu na mbere kenda bethira bakiona ganto kiri gatheti ya The Standard katazine kambere Trinity of Terror. Hey Trinity of Terror yao kwena mbisha ya Suluhu Hassan president wa Tanzania kirete ngutia jeshi kwena mbisha ya president wa Uganda Museveni ngutia jeshi na mbisha ya president wa Kenya William Ruto kinyawe kirete ngutia jeshi. Kiri mwandiki wa gatheti ariwatire when Uganda Yoweri Museveni admitted that the two Kenyans had been tortured while in his country custody, he unwittingly fanned into the flames of repression spreading across East Africa. Once seen as the region's elder statesman, Museveni now speaks as the world still reels from the bloodshed that accompanied Tanzania's October election that ended President Suluhu's total victory and a new reputation for strong arm rule. In Kenya, the soil has barely settled over the graves of slain youths, while others remain missing. East Africa is fast beginning to resemble the 1930s Europe of Adolf Hitler, Benito Mussolini, and Ion Antonisu. So, bada tuba bekiri tengusia jeshi na mwandiki wa gatheti na kuwa udikteta burapo kuendelea across East Africa because kithurano kia Tanzania ura kiretere na mbere Akenya bara wati 10th grune ya Uganda, and then ikarika no maandamano ya Gen Z bara bethire beto uturo bo bara baurite kaitene ka Kenya bara batirwe na ngurario chia mwiri. I narrowly escaped death, Tanzania election observer narrates ordeal. Kwina anundo areao kana kuthomererwo no tuna briefly. Several months before Tanzania general election on October 29th, governance expert Elizabeth Anundo was assigned to observe the post. She had previously observed elections in South Africa and Senegal on behalf of Africa Liberal Network. However, unlike other countries, Anundo said obtaining accreditation to observe the Tanzanian election was not a walk in the park. Quote, after months of persistence, I was finally accredited, she said, but those 4 days I spent in Tanzania and surviving what I went through still makes me break down whenever I recall the experience. Yani uni election observer ukuthia tarire kinyamara kira kulukirire kiri kurungamira kura cia nthiguru ya Tanzania. Karatasi neka tuna EACC reviews its proving counties for corruption cases worthy billions. EACC boss Abdelmohamed ariwa mwaka thai nibethirite bakiamukira report manele ya 88 kuma kiri Senate akachoka akawatire nibetite na mbere kubwithio chunkoni kiri county mwanya thiguru ya Kenya kenda kuona county ira chithirite chitumira mbeta cia muingi buthuku. Atasine katandatu spotlight on Ruto after Museveni's revelation on 2 abducted Kenyans. The Ugandan president's defendant detaining Bob Jagi and Nicholas Oyo as measure against foreign influences. Museveni disclosed that the Kenyan government knew of the illegal detention but was insistent to act. Where? Okay. So, kuringana na mwandiki wa gatheti ariwa kuthirikari ya Kenya ni raichi Akenya ba iba watio tena na nabare lakini ba kira beta na mbere kwewa thina kwa kuluki ya ntuko 30 ntuburane ndi butumite question marks kana biure bia oka euro rea utongeria boa East Africa. Real quick, I think we move kire cartoon Yantuko. Yes, we move kire cartoon Yantuko. Kire cartoon Yantuko. So boys and girls, that is your homework for today. And then I am a stunning disclosure. Dr. Ogamba told MPs that even as the audit is still underway, some 10 secondary schools were found with no learners at all despite having teachers. Now, kile skuru nyingi kana kile audit ile tekebwethwa either kwena ghost schools, skuru si maratasine lakini on kile ground uti skuru tio alafu inge tie na arimo na ite na aritwa na chionde chithirite ikiamukira funding. So mwandi muchori wa cartoon areao mwarimu ekirasine lakini kiras kitina aritwa na boys and girls bawote bairira sine ibaba kwa umwake weta kubwithia. It shows you ora kithomo Kenya kithirite either kikiamukira mbesa itu fund aditono bariko kana mbesa ikambukirwa tio fund school ite exist lakini kri system chiekwo ano tukinya muthio magatheti gucokere kathu no tupoko tho watanirite na uni gawi kia kristundo chietu chia World FM Karimi County matini gichunge bo itithi na mbere kuma thai mwanka thaithatu nani kuma thaithatu ankethira ngichokera na mwandiki wa kiama kiano peu Rwang'iro Meru Franklin Karuti kenda kwariria mantu ingi bia mabeki siasa. Last week indonire deputy speaker wa Meru Mwendali akiwa siama bionde be Meru bibatu kutha bikiringanirwa kenda wikira inya bargaining power ya Meru kidi thirikari nene nachoka wa these political parties in briefcase chiantu kiombe is it so Meru ni kwenda kiama kimwe kana Meru ni kwenda byama bithira bikiongeleka iri njira imwe ya kuongela bargaining power kiri kura cha mwaka 2027 tuwatande wona chikinya thaitha turengi.